alpha, right, John?
Yeah. The one thing about I don't know I'm recording this.
Because you like to be recorded.
Do I? No one's ever gonna watch it.
It's okay. Do they really need to?
No. What do we really need on this planet? What do we really need? Basic functions, human being. Good air.
Food, water, air, and sex? I don't know.
If you ever met people like that, that's all I live for. Basically. Yeah.
Yes. It's crap on.
I don't know why I asked that question. Of course
You know the answer to that question. I know a lot of people that's their only goal in life. Though not as much as it used to be. I must be getting old.
Cold and full of mold.
So old and cold and so very full of mold.
By the way, there's seems to be a little problem in the neighborhood.
Really?
The hill up my house.
Uh-huh.
You look on one hill, the road. Seems to be
The big hill? Okay.
so you go to your right and go down.
Uh-huh.
A couple weeks ago, I was at the first stop eating my nightly soda fix, so my blood sugar is up and down. The woman was telling me about this property that she and her husband, her husband and her were looking at. That's a case Chandra Service there watches this because she knows all about it.
It'd be she, I believe. Who even was that woman in that picture? I'm all for filters, but that made her look wildly unlike Chandra Service.
Did it really?
It really did. It was quite amusing, but scary at the same time. Sorry, Chandra. I don't want to be your Facebook friend. I don't. It's weird. There's actually a few people that I don't want to be their Facebook friend anymore. I should probably delete them.
You can do that.
Delete them.
You can block them if you need to.
Oh, I've had to block a few people, John. Two of the same exact person, which why he had two Facebook pages and tried to friend me on them was confusing and awkward and uncomfortable. Though I think it's quite egotistical for me to believe that it was because of me. Though it probably was because of me. Will that ever go away? Or will we always be amused talking about my failed love?
Well, we do. I bring it up on a regular basis, so we keep feeling.
It's alright, I think I brought it up this time.
Well, it's like he was talking about the property she was going to buy.
Property.
Uphill. So I drank my soda and I came back down off my cloud and I had that problem when my blood sugar goes down. I was going, oh, it can't be up. So I tried to figure out where it was. She goes on Cofer and this other street. I'm thinking.
So you go up the hill and you take an immediate right? Down the hill, or is it up the hill?
Up the hill.
Up the hill.
Yeah, come around.
Because there's a rather large, older double-wide trailer up there, like a fancy one, like a house. And then there's another one behind it, on the right. But then on the left, there's a few tiny houses. My mom was actually looking at one that, as you go on that very next road to the left, it's right there on the corner that has the weird slope.
Well, as you go around this way, there's now two double wides in there.
Okay,
Houses.
that makes sense.
You could look toward Coal Creek and Rockville.
Right.
Yeah.
My friend used to live there when I was in grade school.
Well, the woman on the first double wide here, or whatever kind of house.
Prefab house. It's not
Prefab.
really a double wide, it's a prefab or whatever they call it. It's a double wide.
She was telling me, she goes, I'm glad I'm up here by myself. She's talking about smack all her neighbors, every one of them.
Uh-huh.
People that are cutting wood, are they even licensed? And people up here and people down here.
You
I'm
can
thinking,
see them through their windows.
thinking, John, you can met someone like when you were younger.
Are any of us truly alone?
We can only hope. But anyway, then double wide, and the first
Because there's one that
March.
faces south. There's one the front door faces south. I haven't been up there in a really long time.
Well, I know what you're talking about, that one. Yeah, it's along the side here. I don't know what you're talking
Yeah.
about.
It's not that one.
No. This, maybe.
But she was going to buy a property up there.
Well, this,
Regardless.
Well, it's just lady was talking in the first week of last March, first when the pandemic started. I saw the two parts of this house with these big trailers heading down the street. They're sitting by the train tracks. I'm thinking, I know where that's going because they had put foundations on that.
Oh my
right?
goodness. Okay.
They laid it in there. I'm thinking, well, the neighborhood's got a little bit more cozy now, right? Because
I think it got a little tighter.
she'd be out of Castle Rock to come down here and have her own little spot over there, right? Now these people want to put up a house. And she was out there complaining because she was going to block her view of Pikes Peak. I'm thinking, oh, welcome to Florence neighborhood.
Maybe you should have bought that property too.
It's a very beautiful day, neighbor.
Everyone hates their neighbors.
I start singing that. Do you think that'd be funny? What
No,
a beautiful day.
no, I don't think that she would find it very funny. So have you ever seen the tweets, best of Nextdoor? So there's an app called Nextdoor that is neighborhoodal, where everybody can be on one like little neighborhood server, and you can talk to your neighbors by the internet. Sounds like a great idea, right? No, because everyone hates their neighbors.
What's it called again?
It's called Best of Nextdoor. This is the tweets. They just screenshot all the funny tweets or funny comments and whatnot and put them on Twitter, which is funny.
Do you think it's a height of egotism to take your novel, throw a part of it into a fireplace and actually write it again?
The height? Yes. Why, John?
Just asking. Do you think that the people are talking about these tweets that they omitted, and then you get some kind of like the one guy thinking about the EMI with the Beatles. None of the musicals be thrown away. Every tape must be saved in case a piece of genius.
For posterity, right?
Yeah, boxes of, hey Paul, where's yours? I can't find my Siggy. Okay, you got your Ziggy, George? Yeah, I can buy a Siggy.
Many fiction writer teachers do say that you should write your first draft and then make your second draft, and you should burn your first draft. Just get rid of it anyway, or throw it away, or whatever.
Telling teachers, like the notes are gone. Did you throw away your draft? Yes. I burned my second draft.
They burned the second one too, and the third.
No, the second one, third one. This is the first one.
Here's the best one. That's the first one. This is pure shit.
I thought the other two would be pure shit for you.
That might be some egotism right there. She's probably a sophisticated young woman, and we were making fun of her. Joke.
Too bad we never ever talked to that woman.
So sad. You think she left forever? Is she coming back?
Maybe tomorrow.
Forever.
I could easily bump into that woman like I did bump into that really lovely woman at the post office who used to work there. He was Mary.
Mary, quite contrary.
How's your garden grow? You know what? I didn't realize some of those poems were written in desperate plea, you know, like the London Bridge is falling down that river, and then the thing.
Ring around the rosy.
That. I see those in movies now. I see movies now. I get I talk about cringeworthy. I go on. Even it can be the greatest comedy on the earth. I would say, ring around my rose. No.
That's actually quite popular in many horror films, if you can believe that.
There's something about horror films you kind of like burned out on. If you watch them, you almost predict them.
Burned out on everything. See a recurring clickbait article about the films on Netflix that people are unable to finish because they're so scary. And everybody says about the same thing. They're like, are you sure they're just not finishing them because they're bad? Because nowadays you don't have to watch the whole thing. Because you don't have to return it to the store and then go get another one. You can just turn it off and turn on something else. So it's possible that they're not scary, that they suck. Yes. Canceled. Yeah, right, Jen? You're just staring at me.
Yeah, the longer I live, the more I can see why the idea of deism makes so much sense. They think he's functioning, people get born, they die, and the atoms and the planets keep moving around, but there's not really anything personal about the whole thing. It's like, oh, well, the kind of
Just because we're personally experiencing it doesn't mean anything else is personal.
think there's happy stories at the end where people go to their heaven.
And everyone lives happily ever after.
You know, one thing I'm glad you didn't go into, and knowing you still, I think being around you be so much harsher if you actually decide to become a social worker when you're 18. I don't think right now I could even talk to you.
I would probably be
jaded.
much more jaded than I am already.
It's the shit you would see, like the people that.
I can't stand them now. Why would I want to be in that profession? People are just awful to one another. Awful.
Yeah, maybe I should refrain from drinking too much coffee because just sitting around and it makes me hyper. Maybe I should.
Cut back on the caffeine.
It's because of you know.
It's all my fault.
You can't get some lovely second-rate Lipton tea or something. Just warm up your own urine.
I would love to live here in town. We could have tea. And not the poorhouse. Not that I don't love it. Poorhouse is great.
It's so great. That's great.
It's great times. Great.
Do you go down to the new one down the street too much? We were there once.
Well, I've been there a couple times. I actually really enjoy their drinks. I haven't had an iced chai there. Really, I only ever drink chai. Powdered chai is nasty, but cold. It's fine hot, but it's really gross cold because it doesn't dissolve correctly. It's like totally gross, yeah. I can't even drink it. I had to throw it away.
Actually, I heard that.
Teenage girls slang drives new language in our world, and I love it so much. I do. Because it's something contributable to society that we don't see yet make so much fun of when we do see it. They really do. Conversation is an incredible tool for furthering our language in any culture, but teenage girls making up their own slang and totally developing their own language is
and their own cadence, their own dialect.
Exactly. It's incredible that we do that because then we adopt it and adapt it to our own lifestyles all the time. And some of it falls out of vogue, of course, but other things stay.
What's amazing to me is that you can do that kind of verbal inflection. And people know exactly what you're talking about, what you're speaking for instantly, don't you think?
Or exactly how you're trying to sound.
I can't talk that way. I'm not really.
Are you not a valley girl, John? You gotta flip your hair.
Did you like that, huh?
I love it. I think it's great. Well, it's a measurable contribution to the furthering of the English language, at least. I don't know if other countries and languages necessarily have as much of an impact on their own society through that, but we do for sure. For sure, John. That was another one, slang that I love slang. Okay, this is the reason why I love it, and it probably has a lot to do with why it's so important, but it creates new ways to convey the things that we want to say, and maybe it's more clear, because back in the day, I would have had to say something quite colloquial. John, do you quite understand what my meaning is? And now I'm just it's lovely. I love it.
But do you think how you said this is a 19th century award, 18th century awards, right?
Yes.
Do you think it's going to happen to us too? Looking back at this era?
Absolutely.
People think, well, we're at the end, we're at the height of this kind of thing.
Oh,
No.
we are not. We might be at the height of the downfall, but it's not the height of intellect and superiority over earlier cultures.
It's amazing in your lifetime too how certain things you don't say anymore.
Of course not. Because they no longer serve the clearness of my speech towards others.
Well, the word awesome is still kind of being used.
Awesome. Or cool. People don't really say cool anymore. It's not cool. What do we say now? Bitchin'? No, that's earlier even than cool. Yeet. We say yeet a lot.
What's yeet?
I believe it means to throw something, but it also means that it's like far out, like stellar, because you're throwing it, like yeet. I don't know.
The thing
I'm
is,
not a teenage girl anymore. I'm not up on the slang.
the thing about why I would call it that is like the thing about getting older is just fantastic because you can listen to today's music and stuff and know about it. At a certain point, how I think for most people it becomes less and less important
Okay.
as far as keeping up.
Well, what do we need to keep up with if you're enjoying yourself?
Well, back in the 70s and early 80s, I would do that until I went to Bob Jones, of course.
Rest in peace, Bob Jones.
I was trying to explain this thing why I left my time at Bob Jones University and how it changed me. And
Did it change you, or did it further your development as a John Erickson?
further my development. Well, first of all, appreciate my mother about talking me out of getting married to Laura. And also, which
Do you think that was selfish on her part? Or do you think she was looking out for you? Or was it a big mixture of both?
mixture of both.
What was more predominant, do you think? The selfishness? Or did she really think it was a bad idea?
She was better. She made sure I went because she saw in her own life. She got to see me in my 20s and 30s just, and then give me this and I have a fucking time of my life. I mean, maybe she was happy to see that at the end of her life. Maybe she saw.
Is she living vicariously through you, or just simply happy because you were her son?
I think it happened to her son. Looking at some of that time I saw her 20 years ago. It'd be 20 years ago, April 1st, when I had my diagnosis of diabetes. And she was just standing. Her dad wasn't there, mom was there. And we said, well, this is a hallucination. I went, I don't know about that, man. 'Cause I really believe that, well, this is metaphysical right here in hell.
Oh, truly.
You go, I understand this. You go,
Really? Please explain it to me, because I don't fucking get it.
you got this personality that you chose, it's given to you, or whatever the hell.
Yes, this is all ridiculous in
Your
its own
looks,
way.
the way you think, you're thinking, thank you so much for everything you've given me. I appreciate it. No shoot, I.
And also, thank you for all the sociopaths in my life. Wait, that... Don't go there.
You could have been born in Haiti
I could have been born in Haiti.
or Brooklyn.
Or been Chinese and been murdered 5 minutes after I was born for being a girl.
I was talking to somebody, I was talking to Daniel this morning. I thought one time, the first time in my life is that right there explains the difference between the Soviet Union and China. China has one time zone, and Russia's got 12. 14 of them. That explains the whole thing.
China is one time zone, really? The whole entire thing?
East and west, north and south, one time zone. See, you might be every morning of your life in complete darkness and think that is all normal to have the sun over this.
That's weird. I did not know that. That can really fuck with a person.
So how would you know?
So you gotta work from 8 to 6 o'clock, but 8 o'clock is noon. And 6 o'clock is midnight. Well, obviously not. It's 9 or 10 o'clock. But still.
On China's time, nature time.
Right. Nature time. Like, okay, so you go to work at 8 o'clock in the morning, but the sun is at its pinnacle in the sky, the zenith. And then when you get off of work, it's late. That's gotta really fuck with some people's circadian rhythms. Is that hippie of me to say that?
No.
Do you think that's why? I don't even know. Why? How do you think that affects them? That's gotta be awful. I did not know that at all. That's a big country. That's a lot of time zones.
Remember, it's the third largest country in the world, geographically, big after Canada.
Is it Canada and then Russia?
I think Russia's first,
Russia's first, then Canada, then China,
if I remember right.
then
I think we were-
Australia. No, they have their own I mean, they're a country and a continent, right?
You know what gets me about Australia is,
Australia's actually kind of small.
yeah, as we see on the maps. I mean, I don't know how big it is. So
It's pretty big, but it's not as big as we think, and it's not as small as we think.
Why is it a continent?
What? Why is it a
Why
continent?
is it shut in there with Asia? Why does it say it's part of the Asian continent? Why is Australia?
Because it's so south.
that
Why isn't New Zealand its own continent? Or Hawaii? What's the Hawaii should not be part of the North America. But it's also not part of Asia, so what is it? Is it Hawaii might be its own continent. I'm gonna look up how big Australia is and compare it to the United States. That was not a sentence, I'm sorry. Australia compared to US size-wise. It's about the same size as the United States, actually.
Oh wow.
Yeah. So it's rather large, but it's not like land mass large. Does that seem reasonable? That seems normal to me. I wouldn't have thought it was much smaller than the United States land mass wise.
It being designated as a continent.
I just think it's because it's so far south, but I don't know why all the Asian islands aren't part of Australia instead. Is it really because they hated Australia so much because it was a penal colony and because it was weird?
I can see that.
Yeah, that's kind of incredible. Australia and the United States are nearly identical in size.